Vote counting is underway in South Korea after polls closed earlier in a presidential election closely watched after months of political turmoil. The Democratic Party's Lee Jae-myung is projected to win by a landslide. A joint exit poll by major broadcasters KBS, MBC and SBS shows Mr. Lee with about 52% of the vote. It's not clear when we will get the final outcome, but the National Election Commission is scheduled to certify results tomorrow. Millions turned out in force to more than 14,200 polling booths, with turnout rising past 77% and hitting a record high as of 7 p.m. local time. 5 candidates are vying for the presidency. As we mentioned, that Lee Jae-myung, he is the clear frontrunner for now with 52% of the vote. Kim Moon-soo from the ruling People Power Party, Lee Jun-seok of the New Reform Party, Kwon Young-kook of the Democratic Labour Party, and independent Song Jin-ho. And for the first time in 18 years, no female candidates are running for the top job in South Korea. And for more, CNA's Lim Yun-suk joins us live from Gwanghwamun Square in Seoul. Yun-suk polls closed a little more than an hour ago, and we just heard that result, 52% for now for Lee Jae-myung. What's it like? How are people feeling where you are?
Well, I am here in Gwanghwamun Plaza, and, supporters of Lee Jae-myung gathered a bit earlier, just before the exit polls were to be released. And when they saw the results of the exit polls, many of them just jumped up in joy, and there was this big applause among the crowd. And in fact, behind me are some of those supporters of Lee Jae-myung, and they have been here slightly for more than 1 hour. And they're not the only crowd here. There are different crowds who have gathered in different parts of this Gwanghwamun because they say that they want to celebrate their candidate Lee Jae-myung becoming the new president. Now, the official count, is underway, and the election results will be out sometime later on Wednesday morning. But the exit polls are very important, and South Koreans do take them seriously because we've seen in the past presidential elections how the exit polls were correct. And in fact, in 2022, in the last presidential election, the exit poll results showed Yoon Suk-yeol winning by a slow margin, and he did by a small margin, and he did. And that's why the supporters of Lee Jae-myung here say that definitely their candidate Lee Jae-myung will become the new president, and they're here to celebrate, and they intend to stay here for a few more hours. But elsewhere, we heard that, the camp of Kim Moon-soo, who is trailing behind Lee Jae-myung right now, it has been pretty quiet inside the camp where they've set up this camp inside the parliament, but also at the camp of Lee Jae-myung inside parliament, there was the same applause and people clapping when they saw the exit poll results too.
All right, Yun-suk, the final results, of course, they need to be ratified by the Election Commission. And this time, we will not see the 60 days between election results and inauguration, because this election is because the last president was impeached and removed. So this is a shortened cycle. What happens when we get those final results?
Well, yes, usually a president would have this 2-month transition period, allowing the president to get ready to move into the presidential office. But this time around, because this is the snap election, the president will not have that luxury. And in fact, the president will have to go into the presidential office right away. And that's why the National Election Commission will be declaring the winner sometime early Wednesday morning. And after that happens, a simple, small inauguration ceremony is expected to take place in Parliament. And following that ceremony, the president will then go to the Yongsan presidential office immediately. Now, it is unsure if that president will have some kind of a car parade, or will be coming here to Gwanghwamun Plaza, or will be going to other parts of Seoul to meet their supporters. But right now, it seems like the president will go to the presidential office in Yongsan immediately and will be starting his official duties. Now, there are many challenges facing the president here in South Korea. We know about the tariffs imposed on South Korea. And in fact, if candidate Lee Jae-myung is elected president, as the exit polls show, then it is very possible that we won't see negotiations right away, because he has said that it was important that South Korean interests come first, and there was no need to rush for negotiations with the United States. However, if the exit polls prove to be wrong and candidate Kim Moon-soo is the president, then he has said that he will meet with President Yoon Suk-yeol, or at least have conversation with him immediately, because he believes that the strong alliance between Washington and Seoul is important in determining not just defense policies here in South Korea, but also the economic issues.
Thanks. That Lim Yoon-suk there reporting live from Seoul. South Korea is one of the world's fastest aging societies. Of course, those aged above 60, in fact, outnumber those in their 20s and 30s. Even so, that age group, the young ones, have formed a powerful bloc this election, energized by last December's martial law crisis. CNA's Grace Shin tells us more.
Young voters in their 20s and 30s are emerging as a key demographic in this election, making up over 30% of South Korea's electorate and playing a pivotal role in shaping the country's political future. Experts say the brief but chaotic martial law and President Yoon Suk-yeol's ousting marked a turning point, pushing even politically disengaged citizens to follow the news, attend rallies, or engage online. What's especially notable is the youth surge. Once seen as politically apathetic, South Koreans aged 18 to 39 are now more engaged than ever. A Gallup survey found 77% of those in their 20s plan to vote. That's up from 73.8% in 2022. Candidates quickly adapted. Debates included MBTI references, youth moderators, and tech-focused messaging. Lee Jae-myung from the Democratic Party pledged to match monthly youth savings and cover national pension premiums. Kim Moon-soo from the People Power Party promised housing and job reforms, including 333 dwellings to ease newlywed housing costs. Lee Jun-suk from the New Reform Party proposed pension reform and launched a low-interest loan program of up to $38,500 for young adults. An expert told me that unlike the older 586 generation, those shaped by Korea's authoritarian past, today's youth are less ideological, more pragmatic, and deeply influenced by personal interests like housing and job security.
저는 이제 586이라고 하는 세대인데 586 세대들은 전두환 정권에서 투쟁을 하면서 살아왔던 세대들이고요. 그래서 사실은 진보는 선이고 보수는 악이다라는 생각들을 많이 갖고 있어요. 하지만 젊은 세대들은 그런 경험이 없기 때문에 이념을 중심으로 선과 악을 나누질 않아요. 그러니까 나의 이익을 중심으로 하는데.
And they're engaging in new ways through short-form videos, memes, and AI-generated content. On Election Day, social media was flooded with personalized vote certificates featuring everything from K-pop idols to cartoon mascots, turning civic duty into a creative statement. One overseas voter I spoke with used AI tools to compare policies and said the political crisis back home motivated him to cast his first ballot.
This was a unique experience to actually vote away from home. But I think the reason why I did this was, I think it stems from like a sense of responsibility. With AI technologies, you're able to really crunch down those hard concepts, those policies into bite sizes. So the younger generation, especially with social media as well, they are well informed. They have the means to access these tools to be informed about the policies, to inform about the political strategies or political parties or the political candidates. So I believe that our generation, and the young generation here, are more like they have the ability to be well informed.
Of course, this digital wave isn't without risks. Misinformation spreads fast, and schools face challenges balancing education and neutrality. But one thing is clear. With AI, social media, and a plugged-in youth base, South Korea's democracy is entering a new era.